And a very good morning to every one of you tuned in, listening to us here on Joy 99.7 FM. And if you're watching us, then it means that you are on Joy Prime. Thank you for letting us into your homes this morning. My name is Adam Nighty, and as always, this is Home Affairs, where we share family lessons with you. Our mandate is to make homes out of houses, and we pray that God is helping us to do that. At least your feedback tells us that we are doing something good. So thank you for choosing us every Saturday morning from 6:15 up until 7:30. This morning, we have a very interesting conversation for you. As always, we have received a lot of mails, and sometimes, oh God, sometimes in the middle of work, you're so busy, and then they tell you someone is looking for you. You go, someone has a relationship problem here, one or the other. They're sending you messages, emails. Sometimes I forward them to I send some of them to PG, I send them to Mama T, I send people to Ariel because sometimes it's just overwhelming. And we have come to conclude on this show that when people are having relationship problems, it tends to transcend all aspects of their lives, and then it affects almost everything. You can hardly concentrate on any other thing because there's a part of you that's not working. There's a part of you that's not making you happy. And usually, if it's a relationship problem, then the unhappiness is from deep within and it tends to affect everything. I got a message from, no, not a message. The person came here to visit me and we sat down to have a conversation. It's not, I won't say that I haven't heard that kind of story before, but that's what actually pushed us to go back to having this conversation. And like I said, we have lots of these kinds of situations, coming up every time. So, for better, for worse, or till death do us part, does it mean that even if the relationship is toxic, it's killing you, it's, abusive, and all of those, you still have to remain in it because you're told or you made a vow saying that till death do you part? I know we have had that conversation here, and was it PG or Mamati who explained that? Not the death that somebody deliberately invokes on you, but till your natural death do you part. But if it's a relationship that is really killing you, must you be in it because you really made that vow? How can you deal with it? So this young woman came to visit me. She's not that young. They've been married for 15 to 16 years. They have 3 children, and her problem is she met the husband. They dated for about 8 months, and they got married. The man was just too convinced that she is the one because in his books she is a good woman. Good woman in the sense that she is the woman who doesn't like to, go out. She doesn't party. She's a good Christian. She will make a good wife. She will stay at home, take care of your children. You're sure when you leave your children in the care of this person, they're going to be okay. You can trust her with her property because you know that she is not covetous. She's not envious and all. So for the man, he had ticked all the boxes after relating to her for a while, and it was good by him. So he needed a good woman to manage his home, and he found her. Well, she fell in love along the line because, of course, if a man finds a good woman, he will treat her right, right? So he treated her right, and she thought that, hey, this is what it is, and they got married. But he was looking for a good woman, so he found a good woman, put her at home, and then he turned to live his life. She said that when they were dating, he kind of cheated on her 1 or 2 times, but he came to apologize and said it was the devil and begged it won't happen again. The moment you become my wife, you're with me. It means that I am seeing you every day. And she was naive to us, actually her very first relationship at age 26. So, yeah, and everything. And family was like, look, every man is like that. When he promises you, da, da, da. So she agreed and they got married. They got married after a couple of months. She got pregnant, familiarity set in, and then the man started his ways again. This time round, he could go and not come back home. And when you come back home, hey, I love you. Yeah, I chose you. Yeah, it could be. And it's not like he's denying it. He admits that I'm doing ABCD out there. I could be doing ABCD out there. You know how they say it, right? But you are the woman I have chosen. It is you I love. That is why you are the one who is in my home. bearing my children and all. So appreciate it. You work, you make money, but I still put money in your account for you anyway. So you are the missus. Just appreciate it, and I and he's this is what she says that was very interesting to me. That he says, I give you sex when I think you need it. So you should be very appreciative of it and know that I love you. There are a lot of women out there who are not even getting men to propose to them. You are married. Look at the house you live in. Look at your children. So be happy and don't really care about, me. If I need you, you should be here for me. And that's the kind of relationship she is in. She can have conversations until it is at his call, because he had a certain agenda coming into the marriage, and that's the agenda he's living. So she said she spoke to somebody and decided that, look, I need to start paying attention to myself, because she also let herself go because of all the pain, and I can't sit with you, we can plan together, everything is at his call. He issues the orders here and there, and they have to be done. So when she started paying attention to herself here and there, the man woke up and said, this is not the woman I married. I married a good woman who is supposed to, and then he said, don't force me to tell you to stop working, because you're supposed to go to work, come back home, be here, take care of the children, and be that good woman. Not now dressing up, I'm going to visit this friend, I'm going here, I'm going for this and going for that. I don't want to stop you from even going to work. So you better stay the woman I want you to stay. She said her mother is no longer alive, but she spoke to her auntie, who says, just obey your husband, because all men are like that. The auntie says she is not sure which man doesn't cheat now, or which man, it's a man's world. They go out, they do what they have to do. He goes out, he wants to come back after 3 days. He comes back home to you, right? So you should be grateful, because some go and never come back. And that's the kind of relationship she's in. And I think she has woken up and she thinks that I don't want to be here. But everybody tells her that you made a vow. Her pastors tell her you made a vow, till death do you pass. So just stay in there and pray. They talked about counseling. The man was very upset. Somebody has sat somewhere and read some book and thinks that he has more brains to teach you or to teach me how to marry you. Don't bring it up again. So that's also not a conversation to have. And she's asking, this relationship is toxic. She says that in the past 15 years, there are times that they could go for a whole year and they are not intimate. So it is when he thinks she needs it. And she thinks that this thing is killing her. And he is not willing to listen to anybody. So when she came to me, I asked her, now that he doesn't want to sit with anybody and talk, and he's not listening to anybody, how is this going to be? She says that now she doesn't want the relationship anymore. She wants to get out, but she wants to find out how. There are 3 kids. I think the children are, she says, 10, 12, and I think a little one who is around 5 years. So that is her problem. And I thought that on the back of that and a few other ones, we should have a conversation to find out. There are lots of people who may be in similar situations. Could be that it's not a cheating husband or a cheating wife, but people may be manipulated in different other ways in relationships. And this year we said that our focus is to build beautiful homes and marriages and relationships. And so if somebody is going through an abusive and manipulative time in their relationship or in their marriage, obviously it means that they are not happy, and that home would definitely not be a happy one. So how do we delve into these situations, looking at the fact that is there a way out, especially so when they have come to that point and they're saying that I do not think I want to be here anymore. Must we tie them down to the fact that you made a vow that says till death do you part, so you will have to stay in there? Should that be the situation? Home Affairs, my people, is brought to us by Amasha Partners Limited and I Care, Kel Kits. No, this time around we're not promoting the kits, but Kel Charcoal Toothpaste and Music Haven. I will tell you a bit more about them later, but they sponsor Home Affairs, and we say thank you for the sponsorship. And all of you who are yet to sign your contract again, please do so and come back. We need all of you to help us build all the beautiful homes out there. PG Sebastian, top relationship coach. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm happy to see you in person today. We've been doing Zooms. Ariel, today you decided to be on Zoom. When we finish, we'll take the pictures together. I should come and see the way Ajwa is glowing over here. You decided to stay on Zoom. We will exclude you from the photos today. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very well, yourself?
I am well, thank you. And Ajwa, my beautiful friend.
Good to see you.
I miss you.
I miss you too, Adam.
Ajwa is a filmmaker. She is a lecturer and a counseling psychologist. Welcome.
Thank you.
Why are you looking at me like that? Did I lie? Please, we both went to NAFTI together. Let me add that to it. I'm so happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
We haven't hung out in a bit.
I know, right?
And with all my friends too. Ariel, you know you owe Euphemia and I a hangout, right?
I do. We'll do it soon. We'll add Ajwa to it. That makes 4 of us now.
Hey. Find money, oh.
I have
because you are the big sis here.
I know, right?
Okay, good. So we have a conversation on our hands. I think I'll start with you, PG.
Okay. All right. Good morning to our listeners and our viewers. Adam, let me start by saying that there is some level of misapplication of the text till death do us part, and then in most parts of the entire marriage vows.
Okay.
Yes, there is a lot of misapplication for that. Now, first and foremost, marriage is contracted on the basis of utmost good faith. Okay. It is not a commercial contract where if I don't ask you, maybe you may not probably be under any obligation to tell me. Marriage, when it comes, I am under an obligation to disclose everything about me to you. The things that in any way would be material to my partner or the other party making a decision. So if you come and you lie, or if you come and you have an ulterior motive for coming into the marriage, what it means is that you are willfully lying to influence a decision or the outcome of a decision. You are willfully lying, intentionally misrepresenting facts, hiding the true intention for which you are coming into this relationship to advance a particular course that in a way is advantageous to you. So in this instance, we find that the man had an agenda. The key thing was to get not a wife per se, but
woman.
a homemaker.
That's right.
Someone that he can parade with and say that this is my wife. And when you say this is my wife, it raises little to no negative feedback. You don't want to go out with all the girls and do the shenanigans with, and then call one of them your wife, because chances are that they also have their history and probably your reputation in your eyes. They are not worthy of your reputation. So you would want to get another woman who, when her name comes up, people are like, hey, who is this? We don't even know her. Hey, she's very decent. Hey, Opana, you are 4 people, this is your wife. Like the woman that sort of shows up a particular impression or creates a particular mindset in people when it comes to you. A trophy wife. That woman that evokes respect, evokes honor, like basically you are just like, looking for a trophy that you can parade for the effect. So you get this woman, but then your life has to go on. And the reality of your life is not the woman that you're married.
No.
The other women.
She doesn't even fit in.
Sadly. In fact, if you take the woman out of the definition of this marriage, the home, the children and all that, this man probably wouldn't want to do anything with the woman.
Yes.
Which explains why he's also not even sexually there with him. Because otherwise, if it is fun, the sex is top notch, you find her attractive and then everything, you wouldn't even allow her to lose herself, which is something that has happened within the past 15 to 16 years, until she actually had an epiphany and then decided I needed to step up. if this woman was the woman for you, you will be giving her enough sex till you can't go for a whole year without the sex. If this woman was the woman for you, you would treat her with that kind of respect. For me, it's not even about what the man does when he goes out there. Some people may be out there, they are not cheating, but they are getting drunk. They are doing all sorts of things. So for me, it is not even, and again, to make the conversation broader so that other people can benefit from it. For me, the emphasis is not even what the man does out there, but the mere fact that this man can just go and doesn't care what is happening to the woman, doesn't care about the woman's emotional need, doesn't care about the woman's psychological needs, doesn't care about the woman's social need, and how all of this in the end make the woman see herself in her own eyes. Because you see, if you are, even for us men, if you approach a woman and then a woman turns you down, it kind of makes you feel some way.
Oh yeah.
And then take it to the next level. Your woman turns you down in bed. It makes you feel some way.
Yeah.
So in the same way, think about a woman who can be rejected sexually for a whole year, and then for the man to actually insult you by telling you that when I perceive
that you need it.
What a thing to say. When I think you need sex, I give it to you. It means that even something as personal as a person's emotional need or a person's sexual need, now it is moved from the control of that individual into the control of somebody else. It's for somebody to perceive that if I look at your skin, you need some small sex. Come, let me put some sex for your skin too.
Charlie. Very humiliating.
That's very humiliating. You understand? And this has nothing to do with respect. Now, when you get your moment of epiphany and you decide to step out again, the man goes the extent of telling you that, listen, I give you some leash. It's long enough so long as you are a law-abiding citizen or a law-abiding wife. If you begin to get on my wrong nerve, I'm going to rein you in to the extent that I can actually even tell you to quit your job. Now that is not something you can tell my daughter, because clearly she didn't go to school for somebody to say that what you do with your education, what you do with your growth, what you do with who you are or what you should become in the future is something that I have absolute control over. I mean, she didn't go to school to become another man's accessory. And then, decide where I put you at what point in time, and, where I place you at what point in time. So I think that, all in all, I think this woman is in a very bad place. The basis for the marriage was ulterior. The intent, the reasoning for her coming into the man's life was not something that was in her favor. It was not supposed to be an advantage to her. It was all to be an advantage to the man. And therefore, when people are counseling her, when people are talking to her and telling her that no man is perfect, I can understand that. But don't make it seem like this is the end of the thing. Right. I would rather another man is probably treating her bad, but at least this man is honest enough to tell her, listen, this is my weakness. I'm sorry. I'll work on me. Please give me a chance. Beg. Let's go to counseling. And then all of that. At least then you know that this is a man who is aware of his own frailty and understand and appreciate his own mistakes and probably is willing to work on. But not when the man is so condescending and, so self-centered. He tells you that, listen, nothing is going to change. If there is anybody who has to change, it is you. You need to be in line. And then other people are going on to reinforce such negative perception and negative impression of another woman. No, I think that's totally wrong, Adam.
I mean, like you rightly said, we would broaden this conversation and not limit it to them but that's the reason we're having this conversation. But then, Aja, I'll pick your thoughts on this. But while I do that, let me open it up a bit. There are men who also find themselves in situations like this. There are women who have agreed to marry men because they think that they would find financial security, with them. I actually know somebody who is regretting every day now because they're married, but actually had to go here from somewhere. The wife went to have a conversation somewhere. I married him because, listen, the guy is rich. I will be comfortable. Anka enye me so be manono. And I know the woman, so I called her and asked her, She said, where did I hear it? I said, you went to have a conversation at a public place. And I am wondering why you would even do that. You know how, I mean, you go to a public place like a salon and you think nobody knows somebody there, but somebody actually knows somebody. And they go like this and the person steals a photo of you and shares the photo and like, I know this person, so I say Mrs. Wife. And the conversations that were, going on here, these are the things the person said. Then she started crying and said, yeah, she's sorry. She said those things. It was just out of a conversation. I said, no. I can understand why you are having all these challenges in your home because your husband is my friend and every once in a while we talk. And it's like you treat her like your houseboy. It's like
It's a favor.
she sees the man as she is way out of the man's league when it comes to your looks, the way you are and everything. Kenya me so very bad on that. Usika uwo bintia, So you're treating the person very bad. And after this, let me tell you, this friend of mine has been very broken. Like he's torn apart. You know how a man would feel when someone tells you that, but for what you have, you are not the kind of man I want to be with. So what? If I don't have money today, something happens and I don't have money today, I do not have any support in you after being married to you for about 4 years. That is the only reason you're here with me. And you could actually go and say it in public. All he wants now is to leave the marriage. That's all he wants to do. 2 little children, too. All he wants to do is leave. And everybody's saying, consider the children. Consider the children. She's apologizing. But now in his heart of hearts, this woman is apologizing because somebody has heard the desires of your heart and it's been echoed. People find themselves in these things. And when you are there, must you be there because of other things? Is it still salvageable? Aja.
Well, it all boils down to motives, right? So why did you marry her? Okay, so they dated for a couple of months and you think you know the person. But you can only know a person as much as the person allows you access to, right?
Yeah.
So the reality comes in when you get married. Now, when a man is broken, he can't talk about it. But when a woman is broken, everybody hears about it and sympathizes with her. So I can imagine what the man is going through. I think it's very early in the day and maybe some talks may help. It's too early to say, okay, go your separate ways. But maybe counseling, okay? Because love can actually be developed. In the days of our parents, you may not even know the person. You just bring the person from somewhere and say, you marry this person. And those marriages actually last forever. So I think if I have to deal with a case like that, I'll stop talking to them. Okay, fine, yes. She might have had a motive for getting married. And she said all those mean things. Can you salvage this? Give them the opportunity to talk about it. Okay, because I won't say, okay, she's just evil, forget about her, move on. You might not meet another perfect person anywhere. That's a reality. Because when you have money, when you have status, people tend to get close to you, not really because of who you are, but that's the first attraction. Then eventually they get to know you.
You have influence.
Exactly, you have influence. So I'd say that, okay, it's a very painful situation the man is going through, and thank God he has somebody like you to talk to. So he's not actually going to lose it entirely. But speaking to them and getting the woman to reconsider some of the decisions that she's made, okay, and also withholding some things that you lavish on her so that she doesn't think that, it's all there, so you can have it all the time, it will get her to wake up. Unless he's actually set her up to the point where she feels like she has everything, she can't lose it. So the man needs to wake up and say that, okay, so if it's about this, let me withhold it and see. Give her some space to see if it will wake her up to actually say, okay, I still don't want you. Then he can make a decision and say that, okay, let's go our separate ways. Because the kids are young, so it's good it's happening now, so you can test the waters, seek counseling, and then talk through it. But when the kids grow, that's when it becomes very toxic, because an effect of what is happening between them tends to spill on the children and then it gets very worrying.
And in the first instance?
Well, I think that she's speaking for a lot of people, sincerely. Because people really think that when it comes to abuse, it's a physical one that actually is dangerous. But the emotional one kills you faster. There are a lot of people who are depressed. There are a lot of people who are not talking about things. There are a lot of people who are checking into the psychiatric hospital. and they are taking medicines on the quiet because of stigma. They can't talk about it, but they are depressed because of some of these things. So I think that for Home Affairs and other programs that are now online, people are waking up to the reality that when you're going through something, when you listen to programs like these, you can reach out to people and start talking about it. I think the first step to your freedom, or the first step to your healing, is when you open up and talk about it. So she's one step into her regaining herself. So she's spoken about it. As to whether this man can change is another thing. But since she's ready to, move on, I think that talking through some of these things, and then she even gaining courage to say that when I break up, I will not think about what family would say. I will not think about what church will say. I will not think about, I'm actually going to think about myself and think about my children, and also make sure that I have a safety net to be able to take care of them. Because you see, this man is a manipulator. For him to say that I give you sex when I think you need it, I'm like, really? I don't think I would have survived. Even if it's for a month, I'm like, really? So I doubt if he will change. And it's been 16 years. Wow, that's a very long time. I doubt if he will change. So if she's been able to put herself together financially and all of that, and she can move on, the courts are there. I think that we need to be able to take those steps to gain ourselves back, rather than just hold on in the name of, oh, I am the missus. Oh, I'm the one who has a house. I'm the one who has a property. I mean, beyond when you lose your mind, and then what's the value of a property? When you're broken and you can't even decipher who you are again, what's the value of a property? What's the value of marriage? So I think that this is a good step she's taking, and she needs to receive all the support, whether it's from family or friends. We need to give her all the support so that she seeks help. If the man was willing to go for counseling, then would have said that, okay, yes, then it's a good step. We can talk through it and then weigh the options, and then both of us, you the counselor and the couple, decide on what suits you best. But if he doesn't want counseling because somebody has gone to read a book and it's time to read it to you, then he's not ready to change.
That is what they say,
Yes, I
right?
know.
It's so real.
Yeah.
So okay, let me finish listening to Ariel, and then when Ariel is done, I would ask one question so that we can sum this up, because a lot of people are trying to find out truthfully, really. And I mean, non-judge. I mean, when you let me finish with Ariel. Ariel, can you hear
I
me?
hear them. Yes, I
Okay.
can hear you.
You've heard about the two scenarios I shared, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great. Let's hear you.
Interesting, interesting topics and interesting families. But it's unfortunate that these things still happen in this modern 20th century or wherever we are. But
I think they're
the
really
little I
festering now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, from my perspective, this is quite unfortunate, but people can be in abusive relationship for a very long time and they can't actually know that this is abusive. That's the beginning. And for the first lady, I am sure she's getting some self awareness now. The beginning of salvaging or saving yourself and taking responsibility is awareness that this is not good for me. That is where she is now. And as Ajua says, that is good that she's gotten this self awareness to say that where I am is not healthy for me. I'm not being treated well. I'm not being given the space, the environment that I need to thrive, to even survive, or to even say I'm struggling or suffering. She's not getting any of that because she has no say in any subject. And that is very, very unfortunate. So she is at a good place now to decide that I need help. And she has come out to talk about it. But she needs to get to the place of taking full responsibility of her life. And that is one place that can be very scary, to bluntly say that I'm taking full responsibility and I'm answerable and accountable for something that is within my power, my control, and management. Your marriage is not only in your husband's power, control, and management, or he is not the only person answerable to the marriage. So this lady is getting to where I think she's about to take self responsibility and to bluntly say that this is my life and this is happening to me because I made a certain decision. She made a decision based on whatever reason she saw in this man and decided, okay, he is the right man for me. Based on that same reason, the man also said, this is the right woman who can make the home I want. She's now getting the awareness that this is not what I wanted. and that is beautiful. She needs to take responsibility. Now, in my few years of, coaching, I have come to realize almost all of us don't really understand what marriage is about or what relationship is about. We always come with our own agenda, expecting the other person to meet our agenda, and vice versa. And so there's always a conflict because we don't share openness, and we come with so much fear of our own selves, which is a psychological thing. And you said something that most of the time we attract the people that we don't want into our environment because psychologically that's the very thing we are trying to resist. So you see a man who wants to go out with a slave queen, but will marry a woman who is not a slave queen, and then will go out there and have all the time with the slave queen. Why didn't he bring one of that in his house? Because he has a fear of what a slave queen would do in his home. You understand? So this is unfortunate, and this woman needs to take responsibility because if she's sick, if she loses her mental health, if she loses her health, everything of hers is lost. This man will still continue to live his life, will go on and do everything that he wants to do. So this is where you have to say, this is the boundary. Is it to go out? Is it to go and do what do I have to do and make a big decision?
Okay,
Now, it's
great.
true. I have spoken to men also who have had issues in relationship that are quite toxic, like the second conversation. And it's true, a lot of women also go into relationship and think, "Wunya me so bema," but it's because of
Ah,
this and that and that.
ah.
That is why I am going out with you. And all this come from the fact that we don't think people are enough. We don't see the self-worth in people. Self-worth is not something that is external. Self-worth is something that God gave us all. It doesn't have to be external. It's an internal thing, and everybody has it. And you need to have your own internal self-worth that I am good enough and I'm worthy of love and belonging. So if someone tells you you are not my type, I mean, if a carpenter can approach you and say I love you, give him space to talk. He's worthy of that affection they have for you. But you see, we have this status thing, and we look on people based on their outward things they have accumulated outwardly. But before God, we are all the same. We are all worthy. We are all enough. We are all complete. And so saying that you are not Misu person is one of the most abusive thing anybody can say to a human being. And I think this man will need to talk to a psychologist or get some coaching to help him deal with this, to know that he's worthy. He
Great.
doesn't have to define himself by what the woman has said about him so that he can heal the wounds. Because if not, it's going to continue and it's going to keep building more trauma for him. And even if he leaves this relationship, that trauma will keep coming up in other relationships. So he
Great.
needs to deal with the healing, talk to somebody to let him realign his thought life about how he sees himself. And how you see yourself is a personal relationship with yourself.
I usually don't like to say what I tell people when, but this particular woman, I told her, you have no self worth.
Yeah.
You have no self respect. Why? If you can, as much as allow somebody who is not your subema, like you look at yourself and you realize that this person is not worthy of you, but you still allow him in public to openly declare his love for you and put a ring on your finger, and you agree and say it in public that you love him, and you can as much allow him to strip you and have two children for you, you have no self-worth. Because, so what were you looking at? Your value is in money. Money that you didn't make. Money that you didn't earn. Or how? She should be saying, because he did what he did from the depths of his heart. He did what he did. He believed in what he was doing. But you didn't believe in what you were doing, but you still went through with it. You don't have self-worth. Then I think it started dawning on her because she was just looking at, her beauty and everything. And he looks at my friend. All right, so we will take a short break and then return.
Ophelia, did you brush your teeth before eating?
No, mommy. Anytime I use daddy's toothpaste, I get bruises in my mouth and sometimes I feel like vomiting.
That's not an excuse. As a child, you need to brush your teeth before you take your breakfast to avoid tartar and cavity, okay? And you, why are you laughing at your sister? Have you brushed your teeth?
Yes, Mom. I used the Kel Kids toothpaste you brought yesterday to brush my teeth.
Well done, darling. Kel Kids toothpaste is made for kids like you from 2 years to 6 years.
It was so sweet like strawberry. I even wanted to eat it, Mom.
No, you can't eat it. It's toothpaste, not toffee, okay? It's always advisable to give your kids Kel Kids toothpaste to brush their teeth. Kel Kids toothpaste strengthens teeth and prevents decay and cavities. As a mother, I always make sure my kids use Kel Kids toothpaste. Kel Kids toothpaste with strawberry flavor makes brushing exciting for our kids.
Kel, happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Home Affairs on Joy 99.7 FM. If you're just joining us, you missed a little bit, but you can still, continue the conversation. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Joy Prime Television, also on YouTube, so you can catch the show, the beginning of it, if you missed it. We're talking about till death do us part. We're asking, even if your marriage is toxic, is abusive, is manipulative, must you still remain in it because you made a vow saying till death do you part? Must you stay in there till you die so you know that you are a genuine person who stayed true to the vows they made, no matter what it turns out to be, no matter the fact that, hold on, the other person's motives were not right towards you. You made those decisions not being told the truth. Must you still stay in there? And from the thoughts we have shared so far, I want us to seal this part of the conversation to find out. So are we saying that it is okay that after checking all the boxes and realizing that this person married me not being very truthful to me, they married you based on their own motives and agenda, they do not really care about your well-being or how you actually fare in the marriage, and realize that whatever it is that you went through or you're going through is affecting only you and they can't be bothered. At that point in time, is it okay to say that I made these vows, but looking at all of these, staying here will only destroy me? Is it okay to say at this point in time, it is okay? How do you deal with society? How do you deal with, even your parents who will keep encouraging you and telling you that things will change? How do you deal with, if you belong to a church, your counselors, your pastors telling you that no matter what you're going through, stay in there, have faith, pray, keep hope alive, it will be well? How do you deal with those? Did you know that playing any musical instrument or singing activates the brain in ways no other human activity can? It's the total brain workout. For the growing mind, music learning is an invaluable input to the brain development. It is enjoyable, it instills discipline and develops the mind. At Music Haven, we teach all the musical instruments. Talk about the piano, the organ, the violin, the guitar, the saxophone, the trumpet, and we teach both adults and children. Parents, why don't you enroll your children at Music Haven for a great musical experience? We're open from Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can find Music Haven on Mensa Saba Road near the Malamata Market and next to Teledata. Numbers to call 0244 356173 or 055 255 8398. We look forward to having your children in Music Haven. Make your children heroes among their peers. Music Haven, your musical coach. And for your eye care challenges, look no further. Amasha Partners Limited and Eye Care has it all. Your eyes deserve the best care and quality designer glasses. So, Amasha Partners and Eye Care undertake the following: supply of designer frames, sight testing, supply of lenses, sunglasses, contact lenses, ophthalmologist in attendance, and general treatment. You can locate them at La Opposite Trade Fair, Spencer's adjacent ICGC before the Community 18 Junction, McCarthy Hill. They are opposite Benjay Lodge, and if you go to Kaneshi Swan Lake, they are opposite the Green Hand Junction. Achimota, you can find them second floor, Dainsua Plaza. When you go to Takrady, on the Axim Road, opposite the CBG Bank. Ho, they're opposite the Housing Junction. Kumasi, find them at the airport roundabout, and if it's in Kolibu, then they're opposite the ECG, and Koforidia, they are on the Central Hospital Road. Numbers to call 0302 939850 and 0302 778827. You can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, just okay, when I go back to a real, I'll teach her that Ajwa's name is not Ajwa. When we were in school, she used to warn us a lot. Ajwa, PG.
That's a fancy word.
Right. Friend Ajwa.
Ajwa.
She will stop you and tell you, my name is not Ajwa, my name is Ajwa. Hey, Ajwa. And you're talking to Ajwa and you say, so like she says something or you say something she didn't hear. Usually you say, oh, Ose. She says, Esse. Esse, or no, Esse. Kind of, brofo. Let me sell you here. So that's just by the way. So I'm asking, the thoughts we have shared, can we sum it up that way? What I said earlier, that especially so when you wake up and you realize after 16 years that, oof. So he married you, and in his mind, I give you sex when I think you need it. He married you and thinks that all you have to do is to be a good woman, be at home, go to work, come back, take care of the children, listen to me, say as I want you, do as I want you to do, and then just be a good woman, the way I define a good woman. And that's what it is. Now, when at the end of it all, you realize that this is not good for you, it's affecting your well-being and everything, can you come to that point where you wouldn't feel guilty about saying that you don't want to continue this?
Yes, Adam. I mean, I think that that would be the most logical thing to do. Now, let me quickly say this and take it out of the way. Whether you look at it from a Christian perspective or from a secular perspective, marriage is based on love. So the love, and in the Bible, it is akin to the love of God.
Yes.
For us. Okay. So marriage is basically predicated on love. Without love, it is no longer marriage. It is just like every other social contract. Now, in every other social contract, if you begin to realize as partners, our our interest, our original thoughts, our original ideas for coming into this partnership, it's not working.
Are no longer aligned.
Are no longer aligned. Thank you. That's the exact expression someone used. Some big man I know somewhere uses that our interests have gone our separate ways. They are no longer aligned. So then everybody will have to go their separate ways. And it makes sense. Okay. So that is that. Now,
let me just add, I mean, if you were looking at it even from the biblical perspective, Bible simply asks, can two walk together?
Except they agree.
You don't have an agreement.
If we don't have an agreement intellectually,
how can we be
psychologically,
together?
Emotionally, sexually, and all kinds of agreements, we can't have it. How can we go together? How can we become how can the two become the one? How can we chase 10,000? How can we receive a better reward for our labor? Like everything the Bible has said about two people coming together, the mere fact that we are not aligned, it breaks everything. And the church needs to be honest in these things rather than forcing people into relationships that are not working, dysfunctional relationship and toxic relationship. Second thing, you need to be able to come to that place and say that, yes, I want to go. Because you see, like Adjo rightly mentioned, there is always a spillover onto the children. Sometimes people say that because of the children, I can't break the relationship or leave. I tell them that actually, sometimes it's actually better because of the children. Because you see, if your husband or your wife is toxic and you have to leave, you position yourself for up to 50%, because I mean it's you can win or you can lose, up to about 50%, or it's half of you getting the opportunity of marrying a better person who will be anything that your spouse could never be to the children. I know as a counselor, I meet a lot of young people, I mean like couples, who come to me, and then sometimes you listen to them, and as they talk, you get the impression that they come from very good homes. They come from very loving and caring homes. Then along the line, they will drop in, oh PG, let me say this and get it out of the way. The man I refer to as my father is not my biological father. It's my stepfather. So I have come to a place of understanding that stepfathers and stepmothers can sometimes be the best thing that ever happened to people.
100 times better.
Better. They can give you what your father can never give you. And sometimes when people say, oh, I don't want my kids to be called children from broken homes and everything, I tell them sometimes the toxicity in your home is what actually is the
breaking them.
Actually, that is the broken home. And that actually after a divorce, probably your children are better off. Now, when we talk about divorce is not a very simple thing. I am a pro-family person. So divorce is something I always tell people you don't enter into lightly. The same way marriage itself is not something you enter into lightly. So before you divorce, you need to work on your mind first. I mean, the mind has to come to a place of acceptance. The heart has to come to a place of acceptance. If you don't deal with your mind, you may walk away, but you keep looking back. Like as Lot's wife. There are too many people who have a good reason to divorce, but they haven't worked on their mind and they keep going back to the toxicity. They separate for a year, they separate for 6 months, they keep coming back and the same toxic things start again, and then they go because they can't deal with their mind. So for me, deal with your mind, deal with your heart, and it makes it very easy for the physical aspect of it to go on. And I also said something about safety nets, which I want to hone in a little bit. We talk about safety nets, you're looking at your financial preparedness. There are too many women in Accra and the world, by extension, who are terrible and miserable in their marriage, and they want to really get up and walk away. But the wherewith is not there. You can't rent a place.
The there is not there.
The there is not there. You can't rent a place. You don't have, you drive a big car that is not yours. If you say you are walking away, Upana is collecting his car.
Even if it doesn't collect
all
it,
the children.
fuel and maintenance.
And Upana to be one heartless man. If you decide to walk away, he doesn't mind saying he won't pay school fees. And in Ghana here, you see, in Ghana here, we don't allow the law to work. So people will go to the court. The court will give a ruling. And some way, somehow, one person will sit somewhere. You naturally break all the ruling. And the I don't know whether it's a plaintiff or whatever, but the person who is hurt or who is in a disadvantage can't go back to the court again. Sometimes I'm like, what are you waiting for? The court said the man is supposed to give you X, Y, Z. Oh, sometimes it's tiring. Sometimes it's stressful and everything. So by your inability to drag him to the court, for the court to probably charge him with contempt or whatever that the court has to do, you are encouraging his action. Now it becomes like a cancer that spread. Another man gets to hear that, oh, these things, if you don't even pay it, nothing will happen, and then it spreads. So set the precedence. So yes, you need to be financially available so that in the worst case scenario, if the man is dragging his feet, not holding his side of the bargain or being responsible, and you don't have the time, then at least you can take care of yourself. You
Yeah.
can take care of the children, and then you can move on. When it comes to the family members and the church,
Wow.
you. Oh, time. Oh,
I
yeah.
am shocked.
I know.
I thought it was still around 6 something.
I know. Okay, let me round up. When it comes to the church and the family members and everything, always remember, you are in the kitchen yourself. As for your pastor, he will say, I'll pray for you. Maybe I'll pray for you. It's actually the prayer he's saying for you. Oh, you go, I'll pray for you. That's all. You won't even come in his mind again till he meets you the next time. Oh, Sister John, Sister Joan, Sister John, Sister Joan, how is it going? I am praying for you. That's the only prayer he's praying for you. But then they will keep you in that terrible situation. Your mother, your auntie, your cousins, and everything that will tell you stay. They are enjoying their marriage, or their marriage is terrible, and they want to increase the numbers. Sister, brother, this is you. This is for you. Like Ajwe again said, and it's quite interesting. I'm picking a lot of interesting nuggets from what she said. Ultimately, what is the benefit of properties, of land, and of this if you are dead or you are an asylum? So sometimes you need to be bold, but it also goes to the root of your initial agreement with the person quitting your job, not doing any work, and therefore financially you are never independent to the point that when it becomes toxic, you can't walk out. My dear sister, my dear brother, always keep something there for the rainy season so that when it matters, you can just pick your bag and baggage and walk out to save yourself and thrive afterwards.
Great. Let me come to you, Aja.
PG has said it all. He said all the things I wanted to say. But Adam, I think that, we need to also understand that even in the church environment, some of these pastors are equally going through the things we are going through. But they can't talk about it. I mean, how can they talk about it when they are the leaders? So it's everywhere. So you need to be responsible for yourself. But I think that for the ladies' issue, the first step is telling the guy that, you know what, I want to move on. But I would make allowance for us to talk about it. Because if we just decide to say, just go, then we'll have a lot of broken homes. Okay. So let's talk about it. Let's say that I want us to go for counseling. If you want to keep me, I insist on it. If he says no, then you know that at least you're leaving with a clear mind. At least you offered him that kind of forum to reconcile.
Exactly.
Then you can move on. But if he doesn't, then you just leave him and then just maintain your mental health. And I think that for most of these problems that are coming up in marriages and in our society these days, it's because people don't talk about their mental health issues. So people are depressed, they don't even check it out. People are anxious, they don't talk about it. So they get into the marriage space and all of these things start springing up. When you are okay, when you're moving out, I mean, you when you have a toothache, you go to a dentist. When you have a tummy upset, you go to the hospital and all of that. But when you are not able to sleep, there could be something that is happening.
It's triggering it.
It's triggering. So she's spoken to you so she can speak to a counselor. Maybe she can start a counseling by herself. And along the line, this counselor may be able to invite him to come. And then they save their home. But I think that you need to follow up on this one because we haven't finished discussing everything.
Yes, no, we haven't at all. I didn't realize that, time was so fast spent. Hello, Ariel, are you there? Please unmute.
Thank
Okay,
you.
beautiful. Yeah, we will take your final thoughts and then wrap up.
Okay, so you asked
I was
about the
asking about,
okay.
can we actually come to that point where people will make these decisions without feeling guilty, feeling like they have done something wrong? Because sometimes the people around you will make you feel guilty.
Yes, that's true. But I read a quote that I like very much. It said, guilt is a useless emotion. And if you're feeling guilty, you have to deal with it. Find out why are you feeling guilty? Who are you feeling guilty about? And your life does not depend on people. It depends on you. So I agree with PG and Ajua that it needs to be talked about and it needs to get to a place where you make the decision to go. But before you come there, as PG said, there's a lot of work you have to do on yourself. The self is where the problem is. You have to come to a place of acceptance of the situation instead of always regretting, how did I end up with such a man? Why did I do this? Going back and not dealing with this psychologically meant of peace to move on. So acceptance of where you are is key. Acceptance of what is happening is key. This is what it is. And most of the time, we blame ourselves for people's behavior, thinking we are the reason they're doing what they're doing. It is not about you. As Adjoa said, people have a lot of mental issues, people have dysfunction, people have temperament issues, people have traumas they are dealing with, and it makes you feel you make them behave like that. You are not responsible for how people decide to behave. It is their choice to be like that. So make peace, accept where you are, make peace with yourself, and know that, yes, I did my best. I will make peace with the fact that this is how far this journey has taken me, and I'm going to move on. The next is to forgive yourself for any errors you think you've made. Take responsibility for your actions that you also made, during the relationship. And these are all things you have to do yourself. Your partner can't do it for you. And forgive your partner as well. For whatever reason they are the way they are, they behave the way they behave, that has affected you so much. Forgive him and forgive yourself. And then prioritize your well being. Because at the end of the day, your well being is how you are experiencing life right now. And if the way you are experiencing it is not healthy for you, then you have the right to make that decision that no, I can't continue anymore. And you have
Beautiful.
to make, the last thing I'll say is make a holistic assessment of the whole situation. How is my partner going to respond to this? What is his temperament? Is he a litigant? Is he, what is going to happen? How am I going to take care of myself and the children? How is it going to, what's the relationship with the children, with the father? Would that be an impact? You need to holistically look at it and then make that sound decision after a holistic assessment of how this will impact every area of your life. Because, yes,
Beautiful.
every choice you make is going to come with certain consequences. Some of the consequences you will like, some of the consequences you wouldn't like, but that same decision has to be taken. So you need to prepare yourself with whatever choice you make, how to deal with the consequences that will come. And that needs for you to have a holistic assessment. It's not just, okay, if I leave him, it ends there. No, it doesn't end there. What is going to happen? Families will come up, people. Assess all that and then make peace with your decision and take your decision. That's what I'll say.
Great. Thank you very much. I think that all the thoughts have been shared. But I would also want us to, um, make this very clear to all of us that we're not sitting here and trying to break anybody's home. That's not the intention. It's a case that came before us that we had to deal with. Now, I said again this year that our focus is building beautiful homes and relationships. Left to all of us here, myself, PG, Adjoa, and Ariel, we won't have any relationship problems. Everybody will go into a relationship or a marriage seeking the interest of the other person. And if I go in and 70% of the times I am seeking the interest of my partner, and 70% of the times he is seeking my interest, then it's just 30%. The 30% is mine, 30% is his, and I have 70% of his, and he has 70% of yours. We will have a lot of peace in our homes. But it's just because most of the times we go in with the wrong motives. We go in not being truthful to the people. And then you go in and you know that when you're caught in, because we have the opportunity to keep going and coming and going and coming, you can hide a lot of things. But the moment we begin to live together, there's very little you can hide. And then the true you begins to come, to the fore. And it's okay. We're human beings, so there are times we all pretend. But when the true you starts coming to the fore, and the other person is not very happy about it. And sometimes, right, when you're doing things that are not good, you know it yourself. And you are refusing at that point to say that let's address these things, then you know that you're creating all the toxicity around you. And trust me, I told Ariel and her team the last time I spoke to them that when you ask me about my relationship philosophies, I picked them from the Bible. Love your neighbor as yourself, and do unto others what you would like them to do unto you. And so if I don't want you to abuse me, I don't want you to sit on my happiness, I don't want you to offer me sex once in a year. Why would I do it to you? Because then I know you won't be happy to. If I love myself, means I want to take care of myself. I want to be well. I want to be happy. I want to live a good life. Then if I am loving you as I love myself, then I know that you also would like to live a good life and all. So we meet each other that way. But when we become selfish and we don't care about the other person and it's impacting their well-being and their health, and we all don't have the same strengths. Some people, 1, 2, then they are dying. And if you are getting to that point, why would you want the other person to be in it? And what we are saying is that when it gets to that point where one person is on the verge of losing their sanity and their lives and they can't contain it anymore, and you're not willing to help, be it you, the man or the woman, you're not willing to help. And if at that point they have come to themselves and they're making the decision that, you know what, just so we can all have our lives back, take your life and let me take mine, then they can be helped to make those decisions amicably. Have I spoken our thoughts?
Yes.
So that nobody
Yes.
sits anywhere and says that, oh, today on Home Affairs, they are teaching men and women how to be divorced.
Yes, how to
That
break
is
homes.
not. Yes. I need to chip that in very strongly. That is not our aims. We want everybody's home to be beautiful, in as much as we know that there will be challenges. You can solve them. You can solve them if you want to solve them. Marriages are beautiful. PJ, I know enjoy your wife.
Hey.
Aja, how is cunt?
We are work in progress.
That's it. You know, we all are actually. We can never be perfect. I remember the day PG let us into his home like that. I'm like, oh wow. You know. So for better or for worse do not mean anything goes. For better, for worse does not mean a life sentence with no windows to escape. For better, for worse does not mean ignore red flags in every marriage, in even marriages. For better, for worse does not include abuse in any form. It does not mean divorce is not an option, and it does not also mean life's realities should be ignored. For better, for worse means you live life to the fullest. That can include or exclude your spouse. Good morning. Okay, this is from Nana Kwesi. Thank you for sharing that. This one says that have I heard the side or
Of the man.
I haven't heard the man's side, so we didn't sit here to judge anybody. So what we're saying, we took it from the woman's side, and my question was just that if somebody, could be you, coming to that point in your relationship, if you came to that point, and here is the man who says that he doesn't want to meet any counselor who has gone to read anything in a book to come and share. So how do you even hear that person's side of the story? If the person was allowing you to hear their side of the story, then you probably would be making some sound judgment. But the person says, whoever counselor you're calling went to read in a book, I can equally read it, so forget them. An elder sister once reported toxicity in her relationship to me. All I told her was to decide whether or not to leave because she's the one in the relationship. This is from Stephen and in Empire. So Adam, super summary you gave. Akbekoyu from Kunoko. What Kadeshi, thank you very much. I needed to let us understand that. Okay, so our time is up and we have to, be leaving now. PG, in just 10 seconds, is there anything you want to say to wrap up?
Oh, I mean, 10 seconds is short. So let me just say that I'm a counselor, I'm a relationship coach. So anybody who has any need for my service, you can always reach out.
Great.
My number is 0554 849792.
Okay.
Please, it is not a phone. Okay, so you don't just call on that number. It's more for WhatsApp.
Great.
So just send us a WhatsApp message, and then we'll take you through the booking process, and then we can take it from there.
Beautiful. Aja.
Okay, so I'd say that, for better for worse, the vows, yes, we get it. But let's also remember that the Bible says you have to love your wife as Christ loved the church and give himself as a sacrifice for. So we need to be able to draw the balance. So as you want her to submit and to be the housewife and all of that, remember to love her too. So that will create a balance and at least we'll have good homes.
And the opposite, the
Yes.
reverse is true.
Yes, it is.
The reverse is true. You
Yes.
know, if your husband is loving you and you're not being submissive the way you have to be, and you're thinking that onya wusu bema,
Yeah.
you will have issues the same.
Yeah.
Is Ariel there? Maybe Ariel is gone.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you want to wrap up finally?
Yes. Thank you. So all I'm going to say is I'm so passionate about wellness and well-being, and all I want to say to people out there is their wellness and their well-being is a personal thing. It's characterized by personal responsibility and personal self-enhancement. So you need to enhance your life. And whatever means you have to take to enhance your life, I'm willing to help you do it. It's all about the lifestyle. So once you are able to create the lifestyle, unapologetic, give yourself permission and be responsible to create your lifestyle. Sometimes you can be in an unhealthy space, but create a wellness space for you.
Ariel, we have to go.
Yes. So please, everybody out there, I'm willing, I'm always ever ready to help you create that lovely,
Great.
fulfilling life you want to live.
Thank you. And please enjoy your weekend. Take some time off for yourself and, make the weekend beautiful. Monday beckons. Love you and to have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weekend. Next week, we will be here with another Home Affairs. Bye.
Has your child ever told you there was no tissue to use at school? Have you ever had to reuse a dirty cloth handkerchief filled with dirt, sweat, or even mucus? This is so unhygienic. That is why everyone must use Flora disposable handkerchief. Flora is absorbent and disposable, making it a more hygienic option.